Another Sebenza. Yeah, it never stops. This is a large Sebenza 21. There's your blade centering. Pretty well centered. Just about right. Close to right at least. As perfect as you're going to get. There's your lockup. Probably about 60%. I just want to talk about the Sebenza a little bit. The reason I buy Sebenzas is maybe different than some other people, but not really. There's one reason that I buy Sebenzas. One, it's not because it has a centered blade. Usually, this may be a hair off. Maybe not. You'd have to be a serial killer like myself to notice if it was off. Just good as it's going to get. I don't buy it because it's nicely finished. I don't buy it because the blade finish is good. I don't buy it because I like the grind. Although I do like hollow grinds, contrary to what seems like everybody but me and Solo's knife review. We're the only people that like hollow grinds, I guess. I like them a lot. I like the way they look. I like the way they perform. I like how they're thin behind the edge. I like how they stay thin when you sharpen them. Anyways, the reason I buy Sebenzas is for their brick shithouse lockup. And that's it. I wouldn't care, to be nothing but honest, if this blade wasn't centered. I wouldn't care if this handle wasn't finished as nice as it is. I wouldn't care if this blade wasn't finished as nice as it is. It wouldn't really bother me, to be honest. But these Sebenzas lock up so tight every time. They don't ever lock up tight when they're new, and then maybe the lock bar will lose its spring tension, like, I don't know, Strider. Striders do that. I've had custom knives do that. Sebenza locks up tight every single time you open it. No matter how many years you've had it, no matter if it's the first day you got it, or if it's, 15 years later. It is a rock solid lockup every time. And I'm saying side to side and vertically. Yes, I can flex this lock bar vertically if I really push it, but I can flex almost any knife, especially if the cutout's that deep and the handle's this long. I'm going to be able to flex it. I'm a big guy. It's just how it goes. But that's why I buy them. The lockup. It's insane. And when people sit here and say they're not hard-use knives, I guess they're not. You know, in today's world with the Crusader forges and the Graymans and the Striders, but this used to be a hard-use knife. To me, I don't see anything I couldn't do with this knife that I could do with a Hinderer. I really don't. To me, these have better lockup than Hinderers. I'll say that. Maybe it's just the 3 Hinderers I've had. They were solid, but they weren't quite this solid. And if that pivot moves at all, then they're definitely not this solid. The beauty of this knife, the 21, this is not a 25, it's a 21, or a classic or a regular, is you just tighten that pivot down all the way, so it's not going to come loose. And even if it does come loose, which I've had happen, believe it or not, it still has no blade play. There are very, 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 very few knives, actually I can't think of any, that have no blade play with a loose pivot. I've taken the pivot out of Chris Reeves, and they still have no blade play. That's why I buy Chris Reeves. They are so solid. It's incredible. The lockup is so solid that's why. I mean, it's really amazing. Centering is usually good on a Chris Reeve as well. If you do get one that's off center, it may be just like the slightest hair off center, to the point where it's, this is made very carefully. I mean, if you do get an off-center Chris Reeve, it's not going to be much. I'm not saying it can't happen, and there hasn't been some that are, touching or whatever, but 9 times out of 10, if it is off-center, it is so very, very slightly off-center that it really does not matter. And by slightly, I mean like, let me see if I can make this off-center. I mean, it will probably be like that, and that's me pushing the blade over, as opposed to that, which is center. Which doesn't matter in my book. But I buy them for their lockup. And the other main reason, that's the main reason, but the other reason I buy them is they carry so well in the pocket. They're so slim this way. I'm not talking about the length, I'm talking about the width of it closed. You can get your hand in your pocket. I carry my phone in the same pocket that I carry my knife in. Call me crazy. I carry an iPhone 5 with a Sebenza. But it doesn't interfere. I can get my hand in there to get my phone out, at least my iPhone, or whatever else I want to carry in there. It just doesn't interfere. The pocket clip is fantastic. They're just great knives. But if you want a solid knife that will be solid and stay solid for as long as you have it, buy a Sebenza. I may catch a little flack for this, but I can honestly say that I think Sebenza's, at least right now in my knife collecting career per se, I think that Sebenzas are the best knives money can buy, and that's just my personal opinion. I've had, I don't know, Warren Thomas's, David Mosier's. I've had 2 David Mosier's. I've had a lot of Chris Reeves, obviously. I've had Hinderers. I've had Spyderco's. I've never had any Benchmarks. I'm not a fan of them. I've had a lot of knives. I've handled a lot of knives. Crying Customs. What else have I handled? Striders. Obviously, I've had a lot of Striders. Trying to think if I've handled anything really high end. Direware. I had a Direware. Solo V2. This knife, in every aspect, is a better made knife than that Direware I had. I'm not saying it was bad. It was great. Great handmade, custom knife. To me, this is better. This is better fit and finish. This is better lockup. A lot of people aren't going to like that because everybody thinks the Direware has the most fantastic lockup. If you don't tune that pivot in on a Direware, it's got side-to-side play. At least mine did. But I don't know. Long story short, all I'm saying is I've had a lot of knives. I haven't had them all, but in my opinion, this is my opinion, a Sebenza is the best knife money can buy. Leave your thoughts in the comments, which I'm sure a lot of you will. Alright, later guys.